the 45,000 subscriber mark. Your reward? A wishing willow, where the only limitation to your wish is your imagination. So, my dear friends, what will it be?
Where would you rather die? Here or in a Jaeger?
It's that time of the year again, boys. Pacific Rim has been on my front page for a goddamn minute, and we are going to talk about it, and you are going to listen. If you haven't seen my previous video on Pacific Rim, I'd recommend you go check it out because I explained the dangers of being a Jaeger pilot. But reading the comments on that video, I think we can all agree that we know the risks, we know what's at stake, and it's time to nut up or shut up. Put me in, coach! I am throwing hands with a kaiju even if it kills me. The film's fan base has continued to surprise pop culture. With only one movie under their belt, an animated series on Netflix, and a comic run that I sadly can't read because the Philippines is too poor for that kind of gold. Aside from those, we're left high and dry, craving for more content from the universe that has been getting little to no love from the sorry, my bad. I've got a really bad cough. I meant Hollywood. No idea what y'all heard. There are rumors that Pacific Rim had a sequel that was released in 2018, but all I could find was a fan film under the name Pacific Rim Uprising, starring John Boyega, also known as the most wasted potential in Star Wars, and for some reason they decided to add him in the Pacific Rim comic, which I should really check it out if that's the case. It's nice of Hollywood to acknowledge a fan project, you know? But I think the majority of fans can agree that Pacific Rim itself does not need a sequel. It ended with Gypsy Danger severing the connection between the kaiju home dimension to our world. Everybody that wasn't in the Hong Kong fight or Striker Eureka survives and everybody's happy. Yay! What this gem actually needs is a prequel. There, we can finally answer the question most of us have been asking for the majority of the time since the film's release. If the remaining Jaegers in the Shatterdome really were the best of the best, why were they murked in the first few minutes of them actually fighting? To put it completely bluntly, ladies and gentlemen, we must view these Jaegers in their primes and why they were the best of the best to begin with. And what better way to kick off a universe filled with giant robots and giant lizards than with the GOAT himself, the definition of never duck a fade, Cherno Alpha. Now I know what you're thinking. Yes, I know Coyote Tango is canonically the first Jaeger that we should tackle because it's Idris Elba's Jaeger. But personally, I think we can save him for another video because Cherno Alpha's story has barely been told in any form of media. Now, we know Cherno Alpha's body count is a whopping total of 5 kaijus on record, and the Siberian coastal wall has been standing tall and unbreached for a majority of those years. To be that effective at your job, the training must have been absolutely immense. But we won't go into much into their training nor their personal lives. Pacific Rim's universe is packed to the brim with Jaegers all around the world. You're probably thinking, Greg, how the hell do you make a Pacific Rim prequel with all those mechs? See, that's the thing. A prequel doesn't automatically mean that it has to be a film. A prequel can mean anything, as evident by the previous media that I've mentioned. A comic book can be a play, and sure, it can be a film, but more famously, it can be a series. A specific genre of series.
Oh shit, here we go again.
An anthology. These kinds of series are something I think Pacific Rim would thrive off of. An anthology series is a compilation of stories into one season of a show. The most famous anthology series to this day is Love, War, and Robots. That later Amazon saw and was like, hey, maybe we can do that too. And they followed that up with their own anthology, secret level. Pacific Rim's Jaegers all around the world would thrive off of this format. Every Jaeger and their pilots have their own episode, as if there isn't already a movie revealing their fates. Now, each episode doesn't have to be that long. Each episode can highlight one story per Jaeger. And what better way to start the series off with the GOAT of all Mark 1s? Now, while I was doing a deep dive on Cherno's history, she is an absolute force to be reckoned with. No, seriously, her wiki is insane. How the hell is this not a prequel series yet? She was deployed alongside the other Jaegers that we see in the movie, and she was deployed under other Jaegers in service, such as Striker Eureka, Crimson Typhoon, Eden Assassin. 2 of these Jaegers were basically her best buddies. The 3 Jaegers that we see in the Pacific Rim film were the kill squad of the entire verse. The Jaegers you send in if you want to get shit done. There are so many stories in the Pacific Rim wiki that I would love to write about. So if this video does well, hey, maybe I'll keep doing Pacific Rim videos. You never know, right? But right now, I'd like to highlight a mission where I believe Cherno Alpha would shine the most. This is how I imagine it go down. The wind rages in the cold, snowy night. A blizzard consumes the coast of Siberia, and the pilots rest in their quarters. What's left of them, at least. The husband and wife pilot duo, Sasha and Alexis Kaidanovsky, walk to the war room. They've been summoned under the orders of Strucker Pentecost. The islands of Sakhalin are a target of a Category 3 Kaiju. They are assigned to intercept this Kaiju with the assistance of Eden Assassin, another available Jaeger that is in close proximity to them. They will intercept the Kaiju before it can get to the island. The married couple think. They look at each other and they look back at Strucker. They ask why either of their comrades are available, but are informed that Striker and Crimson Typhoon are deployed on other missions. More Kaiju are coming out of the breach, and attacks are becoming more frequent. Sasha and Alexis don't mind the change in pace, but they believe they can take the Kaiju on alone. Strucker insists that Eden Assassin accompany Cherno Alpha in her pursuit. As much as he trusts the pilots, they simply can't risk losing Cherno Alpha right now. Hesitant at first, the husband and wife look at each other a little concerned. But eventually, who are they to deny direct orders? So they nod in acknowledgement and they walk off to suit up for deployment. In the cockpit of Cherno Alpha, they converse on how Strucker is getting more and more desperate. Ever since the Jaeger program was shut down, their resources have been running thinner and thinner every mission. They can barely use their thermal cannons anymore, and their Testofists only have so much juice in them left. Alexis and Sasha look at each other with a cold, emotionless look, but somehow understanding each other. Both of them crack a smirk and they chuckle a slight bit, because they really don't need them to be an effective Jaeger. All they really need are their fists. Hooking up to their stations, the neural handshake begins their countdown. They brace themselves for the drift as everything hits them all at once. We see quick flashes of their memories merging their brains once more to become one with this massive mech. Their memories are less than pretty. They come to and they initialize their routine check if their neural handshake was a success. Cherno Alpha is online and ready to destroy. She's dropped off on the coast of Vanino, landing in the ice-cold waters of the Tartar Strait. Beside them, Eden Assassin drops down beside them, linking their comms. They look at each other, standing side by side, and Eden gives Cherno a nod of acknowledgement. She knows who Cherno Alpha is, and it will be an honor to serve alongside the Siberian war machine. The couple look at each other in the cockpit, and they look back at Eden Assassin, reaching out a hand to shake. Eden looks at it and meets them in between. Both Jaegers show a sign of respect for each other. Then they turn port side. They finally begin their descent down into the ice-cold waters of Russia's oceans. The blizzard rages on, and the island of Sakhalin rests soundly, unaware of the danger they're about to face. Families hunker down in their homes, staying warm by their fireplaces, waiting for this blizzard to be done in the morning. The island begins to shake, ever so subtly, as it gets more and more violent. Their coastal wall sounds the alarm, signaling for everyone to get to the nearest bunker. But they can't. The blizzard is so strong, it forces everyone to pray and hope for the best. May their God save them from the monstrosity that is about to hit their home. The Coast Guard shine a light through the raging blizzard, only to be greeted by a massive tidal wave, crashing hard into them. The wall is unaffected, of course, but the coast is aware of what comes next. They scan the perimeter again to try and pinpoint the origin of that massive wave. And sure enough, far off in the distance, they see it. This massive Category 3 kaiju nearly reaches the coastal wall. They sound the alarm even louder as they see this monstrosity dive back down into the ocean. Disappearing into the icy waters below, the Coast Guard frantically search the waters for signs of movement. Before any of them can react, the kaiju pounces from the ocean in an attempt to jump over the wall. Before it could even leave the waters, it's grabbed by a massive metal hand as it gets dragged back down to the waters, crashing hard into its depths. The impact was so hard it creates a massive wave crashing over the wall. The Coast Guard watch as Cherno Alpha emerges from the depths of the ocean. Its reactor and fog lights illuminate the night skies, revealing this massive creature. Now everyone can see this thing for what it is. The kaiju lets out a massive roar and prepares to engage with Cherno Alpha. But before it can, it's stabbed on its side by a massive sting blade. It's then lifted up in the air over Eden's head and thrown back to Cherno Alpha. She intercepts this kaiju with a massive right hook with its open wound, sending it back towards the water. Scrambling to cover its wound, Cherno and Eden rush towards this thing, aiming to finish the job quick and easy. But again, it dives down into the waters in retreat. Eden Assassin tries to dive in after it, but she's stopped by Cherno Alpha. Shaking her head that it's not worth diving down again, the Jaegers stop their tracks before they could even get to the kaiju. Sticking back to back near the coastal wall, their floodlights shine through the blizzard. Scanning for where this kaiju is beneath the waters. She remarks how they should not let their guard down as they have yet to finish their job. The Jaegers can barely see through the thick snow and wind. The kaiju takes full advantage of this. Eden Assassin diverts course from Cherno and scans the outer perimeter of the coastal wall. Blades drawn, ready to strike as soon as she lays eyes on this kaiju. Approaching the Miracle Mile, she scans it thoroughly via sonar and fog lamps. Before she could even lay a finger on it, this creature appears from the fog and regurgitates some sort of acid, melting through the titanium chassis of Eden. The pilots try and recover, but the acid eats through the cockpit's protective shell. They call out to Cherno Alpha, but she's far off in the fog. Through the comms, Cherno looks frantically for Eden Assassin, but when she spots her, it's already too late. Running full speed at Eden as fast as she can, her core cannot go past their absolute limit like it did before. If they do, they risk Cherno melting down completely, wiping not only both of the Jaegers out with the kaiju, but the island as well. So, running as fast as she can with as much horsepower as she can manage. It's too late to save her comrade. The kaiju grips on Eden's damaged hull, slowly crushing it under her hand. Sasha and Alexis are forced to run towards Eden as fast as they can while she screams, hearing the agonizing screams of pain of her pilot. The screams become more frantic, more panicked, until suddenly it all goes silent. Eden's cockpit is crushed by this massive kaiju and ripped off her shoulders. Her arms go stiff and her body falls into the waters, sinking to the bottom of the Siberian Ocean into her watery grave. And this only pisses Cherno Alpha off. She does not let up on her pursuit. She charges at the beast head on with her fist, meeting the kaiju's face. Swinging back and forth with this beast, Cherno Alpha does not let up on it. The thing tries to fight back, but she's far too strong for this thing to grip on to the Siberian war machine. It wraps its tail around Cherno Alpha's arm, but she grips so tight onto it, she rips it directly off this thing's body. The beast screams in agony and it tries to go for its acid breath once more, but Cherno meets it with the last of her thermal cannons. Emptying her reserves, she burns this thing's insides while holding her mouth open. As the chambers run dry, Cherno Alpha throws this kaiju so far it hits a massive iceberg not too far from the coastal wall. Before it could even recover from this horrific attack, Cherno Alpha is there to slam its head into the iceberg even more. The blood from this kaiju melts the iceberg enough to where Cherno Alpha grabs hold of it and detaches the iceberg from its second half. Using one hand to hold this kaiju down, it tries to fight back, but she grips onto this iceberg and starts wailing onto this beast. Every hit cracks the iceberg more and more. But that does not stop Cherno Alpha. She does not stop until this kaiju is nothing but a blood stain on her fist. She hits it again and again and again until this thing is barely recognizable. The iceberg, drenched in kaiju blood, is dropped into the icy oceans beneath her. Cherno Alpha stares at this creature's mangled body and shakes the blood off her fist. She reports back to the war room, calling out that the kaiju has been dealt with. But Eden Assassin has fallen. Silence. Not a single response from anyone in the war room. Not even Strucker has the strength to reply at that news. Cherno stands there looking down at the beast's mangled corpse and back to the island of Sakhalin. Seeing the coastal wall still standing, Sasha and Alexis try and get a glimpse of the people on top of the wall. As much as they can make out, none of them are harmed. They breathe a sigh of relief in the cockpit as she looks out into the horizon. The war room finally respond, telling Cherno Alpha to report back to their shadow dome. Job well done. They look back at the island one last time and turn starboard. She walks into the icy ocean and descends into their depths, walking back to base. They saved the island, but lost another good Jaeger. They didn't know Eden Assassin's pilots very well, but they fought like a true Jaeger out on the field. They walk away in honor of Eden Assassin, dedicating every fight moving forward to not just all of humanity, but to their fallen Jaeger pilots as well. Hell, they even remark how Strucker has a plan to end this war once and for all. And to them, they'd rather die fighting for their world than not do anything at all. But alas, war